Hello, stream. Hello. I'm gonna do more on my lifeboat project in C using Genie. Learning a lot as I go, so it's gonna be super duper slow. Will it ever be released? I don't know. Wouldn't count on it. Let's find some lovely music to listen to. Like, I'm sure there's plenty. I almost don't want the distraction, but I also worry it'll be really boring and weird if I'm just sitting here in silence. Especially if I mute myself, which I might do because I don't like typing next to the microphone, but I could also just slide it down here onto my lap. I guess I'll talk a little bit about the code. Try and get my brain back in there. We've got a socket. We're creating a socket, binding the socket, and listening on the socket. You know what? I'm starting to think I don't want to take in. So I don't even know if I could do get status without my SSH stuff first. Oh, well, it's not in the right freaking thing. What's that? You spamming me over there? Ah, cool. I'm gonna ban you now. Go fuck yourself, you stupid shitty robot. Go fuck yourself. Away. Scam, spam, bots are tampering. Bots. Scam, spam, bots are tampering. Block. Ban. Thank you for your. Actually, fuck you completely. Fucking spam. No one gives a shit. Your goddamn Discord sucks, and so do you. Uh, but yeah, I think I'll take out the parameters. So instead of passing in the port or this output file thing, like I really, it's scary kind of how how powerful it is. But no, in here I want to do get status. It's probably going to tell me, oh no, I am up to date. All right, great. So yeah, since this is already committed to get, if I ever do want it back, it will be there. But I'm going to take it all out for now. And instead of putting outgoing port here, we're going to read it from the arguments passed to the host command. Well, it's looking for an integer. So we could say actually int outgoing port equals string to I. Like that, I think. Unless it's string to L. I think it's I. Okay, maybe it was L. Come on, Kagi. Come on, man. What the hell? It's also open parsing of integers. Takes in the string, takes in a tail pointer and the base. Okay. Right, so I just need more arguments. Do that. No pointer. And base 10 is the number system I'm most familiar with. Now I can do host 5. And yeah, it tried to bind on port 5. So that's good. Interesting. Port 5, I guess, is restriction. Well, that's good. You get a nice little graceful failure there. Can I host on more things? Oops. Oops. Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah. Wow. So now I've got multiple sockets open. This is kind of cool. Then I can do, I guess, end host. End host. Oh, shit. Close. I don't know if it's still got that other socket open. It might. Socket 4. Well, what happens if I host again? That one's already in use. Fuck. Okay, well, we'll just quit. And then we'll try it again. Okay, and then we're back down to socket 3. Great. So that's coming along. Although I don't actually have support for multiple sockets, so I don't know what happened to that first one. Just like went away. Just trying to think like how it's gonna work in practice, because I mean, multiple channels. Probably don't want to post messages to all of them. Probably have a say command that lets you send a message, say, send, whatever. And instead of just a close command, well, instead of an end host, end join, and close command, you might just have a close command. And you pass it in the socket. Because you're only going to have at most 128 sockets. So, like, you know, close 127 might be the highest thing. But then you could also just say close all, and it would close everything. Or maybe close host, and it would disconnect all of your clients from you, but you would still stay connected as a client to others, or end client or end join, something like that, you know? But then there's also going to be, I'll just leave it as is for now, we'll do that later. There's also going to be a say command, say, send, etc. Oh, right. When I edit the names here, it actually expects me to type literally host square brackets port. So let's instead put it over there. Like vault, because I did not provide a port. Probably learn the shortcuts for compile, build, run. F8, F9, F5. Then it types in that window. Well, it's only going to do this on the ones that are defined. So yeah, instead of connection, host connection. I don't even know if I really need to divide them? I guess so, just in case. Something will be different later, probably. So my plan here is to take in a reference to one of the arrays of connections, so either server connections or client connections, and the number representing the socket file descriptor, scan through the list of connections, find the first open slot, make the new connection in there, store that record in there. Should probably... this is where something like linked lists would make it a lot more trivial, because I could make sure that I'm not inserting duplicates and things like that. My goal here is very, very small, simple code. I guess I would want to shoot for... as self-enforcing as possible in terms of like the design and the logic, so that a person just looking at it can understand what's happening and not be thrown off by like, oh, a resizing array is like, oh, shell games and magic tricks happening with the C code. Like, no, I want it to be very, very clear and easy to understand, like child level code. Very solid though, and no extra bullshit going on. That's the goal. But now I'm talking about inserting into an array in C. I could probably just use a little bit of refresher in general. Dynamic Array Manager. Project. Alright, let's see. I don't mean to make light of this person's work. It seems pretty cool. Pointer to the dynamic array. Current number of elements. Starting capacity. Allocate initial memory. Womp, womp, womp. Check if a resize is needed. Size minus minus. That's how you remove it. You just stop tracking where it was. Oh my goodness. I'm guessing this one will be pretty similar. Using count instead of size. I guess it's not doing the malloc or free, is it? Did I just miss them? Oh, it's using a fixed array, size 100. Nah. Well, so am I guess. Not an array of integers and not size 100, but a fixed array, size 64 for now. 2 of them, in fact. And so that's why I want this function to basically do what all those things are doing, except different. Yeah. So, like, there's several ways I could do this. I've already got the array of fixed size, 64. There's not going to be more than that for now. So I'm probably just going to check all 64 records, and that shouldn't take too long on modern devices. Not at all. And I'm going to have to check every one. And during that check process, I'm going to want to get the first index of a null space, if any can be found, and if not, that means no more connections can be accepted. We're at our limit. And along the way, in addition to checking for null values, I also want to check to see whether this same socket that I'm being told to make a connection for has already a connection to represent it, in which case, I guess I would replace the old record, because presumably the new one would be more up to date, but I might just throw a warning and say, hey, close that old one first. It's looking at me funny. I could always change the behavior later. Yep, this is another gotcha moment. This here is assuming that there is indeed at least one element in the connections list array to check the size of. If not, Then we can say if existing equal to null. And down here we could change this one to existing. Um, I'm wondering now if I could just iterate through the function. Here, I'm gonna try set this equal to max outgoing connections plus 3. We'll just throw a return statement here. Or I'm sorry, no, not I equal to that. We'll set length equal to that. Yeah, and then I'm probably gonna have to. No, let's just get rid of these. Can I log the connection object? Like, mostly I just want to see whether or not it's null. But I'm worried that the null might be represented in different ways. I don't know how to put it. It's like a it's like a scrap function basically. Like it's gonna do just whatever I need it to do, and it's not gonna be included in the final thing. Now we're just gonna call can I just pass in a string like that? I actually don't know. We're gonna assume the socket FD is 3. I'll just keep going. Oh, was it I feel like I still get this basic shit wrong. Initializing an empty uh array string, basically, which is an array of characters. Can I make it a 0 long? Yes, great. I don't entirely understand. I'm trying to forward declare make connection function expected before the pointer token. You don't like my pointer? Yeah, none of that is answering my question about why this forward declaration is not working at all. It says it expected some other token before the asterisk. I mean, okay. I think I wanted it the other way, though. I just changed that. Do I want maybe like this? Pointer to host connections? Fucking bird. 1 second. I'm pretty close to some trees. Birds like to peck on the building. I try to discourage them. Sometimes I don't give a shit if I just yell from inside and I have to go out there and encourage the birds to stay in the trees. Anyway, I'm still unsure about this forward declaration thing. Trying to forward declare a function with multiple parameters, one of which is a pointer to an array. C for declare function multiple params array pointer. This is to get you like the documentation, I assume. Forward declare to an array of pointers of struct, screwing things up. Pointer to a pointer. Or array of pointers. Array of pointers. I want pointer to array. I'm probably being really stupid because I think an array is just a set of pointers. I actually wouldn't know what number to put in there. Oh, maybe that's what it was. Maybe I was putting the square brackets on the wrong spot. Nah. That's probably it. Alright, cool. Cool. I'm very smart and good at code. This was my job. Not this exactly. Web development was, and it was worse in a lot of ways. Better in some, maybe? Easier in some, I guess. I don't know. Hard to measure. Right, so what is host connections? Is an array of connections. So I guess I don't actually need it to be a pointer here. It's going to be an array. Oops. So instead of that, this is where we would actually have the make connection thing. Except it probably wouldn't go there. It'd probably go right here. get to that later. Okay, so it just keeps going and going. Good to know. I just run it again to fix the color. Cool. Oh, it's pretty cool. It's very cool. This would be a good time to see if I can clear the color, like C handle program close. Can I do that? No, I want a handler. C handler program close. Call a function when the program is finished with Control C. Yeah. Signal can be dangerous on some OSs and is deprecated on links that favor SIG action. Here's an example that I ran across recently. Tapped the interrupt signal and modified as I was playing around with it. SIG int handler, int SIG no, Control C pressed, SIG action, SIG int and old action. See, that seems pretty easy to set up. It looks like they're just setting the memory, overwriting the original handler with their own. Seems a little sketchy. But that's why you read the code yourself before downloading and compiling and running it. But that also might be why I wouldn't want to put something like that in this code. My concern is that if someone relatively new to this stuff runs the program just like I did and some kind of error happens and then they quit and it's like still the same color, like that might be very upsetting for them. So if I could just set the color back before the program fully exits, like that's all I really want to do, but if it looks too sketchy and adds too much to the code, it's not worth it. I can't get this SIG action page. Oh, there it is. There's SA handler and SA SIG action. SA handler specifies the action to be associated with SIG num and can be one of the following. sig ignore, or sig default, or a pointer to a signal handling function. This function receives a signal number as its only argument. If SA sig info is specified in SA flags, then SA sig action instead of SA handler specifies the signal handling function for signum. This function receives 3 arguments as described below. Okay, I probably wouldn't need that. Probing for flag support, the following example program exits with the status exit success if SA exposed tag bits is determined to be supported, and exit failure otherwise. So they have a static void handler function, takes in the signo, siginfo, t, void context. So they're going to be using the second version, the SA sig action equal and handler. I kind of want to see an example of the other way, not the signal way, but the other property up here. SA sig action, no, SA handler, yeah. I don't fully understand. It's taking in this old action. I don't think I would need that. Actually, I guess I just want to log the reset character itself. I'm not supposed to use printf in a signal handler. But that's exactly what I want it for. Is to clear the text that's going on there. Yeah, but the problem is that it's not logging out the whole string. Like, I do have the reset in the strings that are there, but if it gets into some kind of issue and the user has to break out, the color will still be all colory. But I guess that's alright. Certainly not the biggest deal, probably not worth wasting time on. That's what I gotta figure, I gotta focus on what matters most. I gotta prioritize a little bit better. But yeah, there's the ANSI color reset. It technically always logs it if it gets the chance to, but that time I didn't give it the chance to. So anyway, that aside, what else is going on? The numbers, the make connection. I said length. Oh, I see. I never goes up. I plus plus. My bad. Classic error. And we'll log that connection out potentially, or we won't be able to because it's not the right data type. And we'll get a seg fault or something. Yep. Oh. But it looks like they are all the same, so I wouldn't be able to tell just from whether or not it's null. I'm pretty sure they're all the same. I just want to like verify as much as possible. Doing great. Live from Pakistan. Cool. I I don't know what to say. Like the world is a scary place right now. I hope you are well. Uh, I'm working on a little chat application. One of my first C programs, I guess. I'm really not that experienced with C. So I'm learning a lot as I go, and I'm going very slowly. Because in my head, I'm setting up this existing variable to be a pointer to a connection. And so then I pull that connection out of the connections list. The connections list is an array of connections. Maybe I have to dereference? Well, like I'm scared to dereference it. Might screw up with the memory. Not really sure. Like, I'm fairly sure I want this to be an array of pointers. I just don't know what I'm doing. So I guess for now I'm gonna take away this pointer. No, bro, Pakistan is very humble. Please come. I'm stuck in America, United States. I don't have a passport, and I'm not sure how hard it would be to get one now. Yeah, I've never been out of the country. I wish I knew these, I wish I knew the basics a little bit better. What are you doing? Great question. I am trying to write a secure chat application that can serve as a way for people to privately host their own secure conversations with other people that they trust on whatever network that they might have access to. But it's very slow going, so it doesn't really do much right now. I can technically open up a socket. It opens the in address ANI interface or whatever on port 25252 by default. You can change that. Bound the socket to that port, listening for connections on that port, and I can close. At least I think it closed. But it doesn't really, it's pretty limited right now. So I'm trying to figure out how to manage this array of connections, which may or may not be null. Genius, great. Can you help me please in programming? I mean, maybe. I can take a look. I choose Python. I know a little bit about Python. I'm not that good at it, but I have worked with it before. Yeah, I don't know if you have like a Replit or some kind of place where I can look at the code or something. Or if you just have like a question, I can try to answer. Range is just 14 years, watching from Pakistan. God bless you. I am 34. But I like talking about code. I like educating whoever wants to be educated if I can. I like learning. I like learning stuff myself. I think I do want these to be an array of pointers. Maybe a C array of pointers versus pointer to array. Because I think this is two different things. The third one is the same as the first. General rule is operator precedence. An array of int pointers, a pointer to an array of integers. Okay, so then I think I would want array of connection pointers. Because I think those could return the null pointer. Now, like, I feel like here I would want an actual pointer to a pointer, an array of pointers. Like, oh my goodness, it's so confusing. Bro, do you know about Web3 or ethical hacking? Not a whole lot. Like, from what I understand, white hat hackers or ethical hackers basically just look at a place's like security or setup and like try to find vulnerabilities, but then instead of exploiting those vulnerabilities for their own gain, they share that information or report that information and get paid in a lot of cases for uh for helping the companies defend themselves instead of for exploiting their weaknesses. So now I've got a pointer to an array of pointers. I don't actually know if I need this one forward declared or not. Yeah, I do. Okay. I have not laptop for coding. Damn, man. Yeah, it stinks. How are you supposed to do your work? Um, I think there might be some websites that you could do on your phone. Like, it probably wouldn't be ideal, but technically could. There might be like a programming keyboard that you could download for your phone that would actually put all the syntax, like parentheses and things, without having to press shift or open up at other things. In which language are you coding? Currently, I'm coding in C. Good old plain portable C is what I'm aiming for, but I am coding in C on Linux, so I'll only really be able to test it on Linux. But the goal is to make it so that it will be easy to compile on any system. My career was as a JavaScript programmer primarily, but we did a little bit of Python and some other stuff, Ruby. Incompatible types when passing type connection to connections. Yeah, I actually want it to be a pointer. A pointer to a connection. Pointer to a connection? Maybe. Bro, can I share my Python roadmap? You can try. Yeah, see if it'll let you post a link. It might not. uh, but give it a shot. These ones would be like this. Because these are the actual arrays of pointers. But then this would be the pointer to the array of pointers. That. Oops, wrong way. Let's dereference. We'll see what happens. So this is one, variables and data types, two, strings and conditional statements, three, lists and tuples, four, dictionary and sets, five, loops, six, functions and recursions, six, file handling. Oh, are there two sixes? 7. Oops. Yeah, I'm familiar with most of those terms from when I worked with Python. You can declare variables. From what I remember, they're not strictly typed, so you kind of have to just be aware of what variables you're using, and it might have a few built-in functions to check the types. Strings and conditional statements, yeah. Lists and tuples, which is kind of an interesting concept. But basically, it's just their version of arrays and objects. Dictionary and sets is kind of a similar thing. Loops, yeah, now we're getting more into like the data flow or the structure or repeating instructions. Functions and recursion, also good for repeating instructions. File handling, I'm doing a lot of that with this program. No, I'm not sure about oops, maybe that's error handling. Okay, come on, brain. Let's do this. I want these to be an array of pointers to connections. So that's what we've got. We've initialized them all to null. And this guy's going to take in an array. It's going to take in a pointer to the array. A pointer to the array of pointers? Is this making any goddamn sense? Bro, can I contact you on any social app, please? I want your guidance. Yes. I don't normally give people my Discord, but the app that I'm currently working on is not yet finished. Like, I can't promise I'll be able to help too much, but I can take a look. Time in America, in Pakistan, it's 10 at night. Currently, it is 11 in the morning where I am. So we're getting close to noon. So is there any way for me to send you a private message? You should be able to find Snoop Squeak on Discord, and I'll have the same avatar and things. I'm watching Mark Zuckerberg, who is building a chat app. Great, Mark. I'm not Mark Zuckerberg. Fuck you. I've got way longer hair, for one. I've got less of an alien face on a good day. But if you can find me on Discord as Snoop Squeak, that would be good. I'm also on Signal. I could give you my Signal thing. I don't do a lot on Signal, so So yeah, what I'm thinking is a pointer to an array of connections. Although it's not actually an array of connections, it's an array of pointers? Oh my god. Because that way they can be null or a connection. Fuck, my understanding of C memory is so poor. What I don't understand is if I make a new connection, and also what does that even mean? Because the data's already got to be allocated, which is theoretically what's happening here when I set up these arrays. But if I set them up to be null, they might not actually allocate anything. And then, like, when I instantiate a struct in C, I don't fully know what that does in memory terms. And this doesn't have anything to do with the Python. I'm just trying to figure out my own bullshit. Don't worry, big things takes time. Yeah, definitely. Well, like, I don't mind taking a look at your Python stuff at some point. I don't know if you can add me on Discord or not, or if I should find something else. But I can't promise I'll do much either. Like, I've been pretty unstable this year, and I gotta take care of myself. Practically speaking, what is the difference between arrays and pointers? An array is a single pre-allocated chunk of contiguous elements, all of the same type, fixed in size and location. A pointer is a reference to any data element of a particular type anywhere. A pointer must be assigned to point to space allocated elsewhere, but it can be reassigned, and the space, if derived from malloc, can be resized at any time. A pointer can point to an array and can simulate, along with malloc, a dynamically allocated array, but a pointer is a much more general data structure. Due to the so-called equivalence of arrays and pointers often seem interchangeable, and in particular, a pointer to a block of memory assigned by malloc is frequently treated and can be referenced using exactly as if it were a true array. Be careful with size of. Why doesn't size of tell me the size of the block of memory pointed to by a pointer? Size of tells you the size of the pointer itself. There is no portable way to find out the size of a malloced block. Remember, too, that size of operates at compile time, and see also 7.27. Can query the malloc package to find out how big an allocated block is. There's no standard or portable way. Some compilers provide non-standard extensions. If you need to know, you'll have to keep track of it yourself. I'm not using a whole lot of malloc, but I don't know if I should be or not. I don't see all the messages in the chat that I'm using. I apologize. It doesn't show up on screen sometimes. It's just empty. Bro, what is your name? I am Snoop Squeak. Or Mike. Mike is also a name. I have gone by others. Okay, so the thing about the pointer is that it's not bound by the limits of the memory. It's just pointing to an address in memory, and that number can change. My name is Farhan. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Nice to meet you. I don't know anyone in Pakistan. I think you're the first person I've like interacted with from there. I am I am an ignorant American. I really don't know a whole lot about the rest of the world. From what I understand, there's some conflict going on, and yeah, that's worrying. You know, I hope that humanity can stop hurting itself soon. The malloc function returns a pointer to dynamically allocated memory or null if unsuccessful. The size of this memory will be appropriately sized to contain the mystruct structure. Are you a believer? No. No, I was abused by Christians. Christo-fascism is destroying the United States. They are death cults, actively working to kill us all, mostly through climate change, but also things like sickness, anti-vax, straight up lying to people, disinformation. So they have a struct that stores an int and a float. They call it mystruct. They declare an array of 4 mystructs and a pointer. Excuse me, sorry. They calculate the size of the array by dividing the length of the array by the size of an individual element from the array. The size of one struct, one mystruct. And then they set some result, which is a float, equal to return same if any equals myArray array size 4. So now it's going to go through the struct of myArray and see if array size equals 4. Int size, int bb. Iterate through the size. Oh yeah, array size, because it's going through all the elements in the array, so that's what that means. Checking to see if any of them equal 4. Is that some number? Yes. And if some number does equal 4, then it returns other number. Great. Fill second array with some data. Second array equal calloc, C allocate, some size, size of struct mystruct. What is some size? Some size is an int. But some size doesn't actually seem to be set anywhere. Oh, it's being stored into some size. The C allocate function is allocating enough space for this and storing it in some size, I think. But then it returns a value as well. Let me look at the C allocate function. Oh man, I want to come to America. America's my dream. It's a state. It's a scam. It's a trap. I hope that we can fix things and actually like make it good. Because like I've got a messed up hand from punching a wall, and like I'm not employed right now, so I don't have health insurance. So it would be prohibitively expensive to get it like fixed. But a lot of people are really fed up. Everyone needs to come to their senses or we all will die. So hopefully that happens. Uh, allocates unused space for an array of n elements, each of whose size in bytes is element size. Space shall be initialized to all bits 0. That's pretty cool. calloc, a memory allocator. What is the difference between calloc and malloc? Allocate unused space for an object whose size in bytes is specified by size and whose value is unspecified. calloc is for an array. Bro, good night. Okay, good night. Talk to you later. Thanks for stopping by. So calloc would be more appropriate for an array. Do I even need to call this myself? Like, when does the actual memory get allocated normally? Because normally I don't have to allocate my own memory at all. The program understands what I'm doing, the compiler or whatever, and like does it right. Pointer arithmetic, oh my goodness. What's weird is I do vaguely remember a lot of this stuff from college. But we only looked at it for like 1 unit, and then we were on to some other shit that was like not related, and so like none of this stuff stuck. Like all of it was in one ear, keep it long enough to use it on the test, and then flush it, and then fill up your brain with other shit. And like none of it was like connecting or building. Some of it was contradictory and like conflicting, and people were like, "Oh yeah, I do it this way. I do it this way." And it's like, okay, well, what's actually best? What's actually right? Like, I don't know. Talk jive? Oh my god. What you talking about, Willis? Oh my god. If you just want complete fucking brain rot, I could read this whole thing. Okay, good night. Good night. Int I, integer variable I, int star p, pointer p to an integer, int a square brackets, array a of integers, int f parentheses, function f with return value of type integer, int star star pp, pointer pp to a pointer to an integer, int star pa, square brackets, pointer pa to an array of integer, int star pf parentheses, a pointer pf to a function with return value integer, int star ap square brackets, array ap of pointers to an integer, int star fp parentheses, function fp which returns a pointer to an integer. Messy in CR7? I don't know what that is a reference to. Star 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 ppp, pointer ppp to a pointer to a pointer to an integer. I don't know, I find something really soothing about like systems and patterns and just like counting. Like it's a form of counting almost. I don't know. Like, oh yes, I know what comes after 1. It is 2. After that, well, you may have heard of 3. 4. Don't even get me started. Sorry, I think that's just a... That's someone else's joke. That's some alphabet thing. Like, I don't want to calloc or malloc if I don't have to. Normally, the memory gets allocated all on its own, I think. By magic. Print good night. Yeah, that's nice. Have a good night. When does C allocate automatically? Because it seems like it does that whenever I just declare things. Short answer, it isn't allocated for you. Slightly longer answer, the subcells pointer is uninitialized and may point anywhere. This is a bug, and you should never allow it to happen. Oh. Longer answer still, automatic variables are allocated on the stack. Global variables are allocated by the compiler and often occupy a special segment or maybe in the heap. Global variables are initialized to 0 by default. Automatic variables do not have a default value. They simply get the value found in memory, and the programmer is responsible for making sure they have good starting values, though many compilers will try to clue you in when you forget. Apart from coding, what do you do? I play a little bit of music. I play video games. I drink a lot, and sometimes that makes me throw up. I like the Nintendo 64. Because I was born in 1991. Ocarina of Time came out when I was 8. Maybe 7. It's my favorite game. I originally got into programming because I wanted to make video games like Zelda 2 on the Nintendo. Married? No. No, not married, not interested. I think monogamy is kind of stupid. And I think that basically everyone is abused, everyone is deprived, everyone is made incapable of caring for themselves financially and in other ways. And so codependence is pushed as this appealing option when really it's not. It just makes everything worse. Are you financially stable? No. Uh, I took some web development, computer science jobs out of college, and managed to get some jobs with big corporations that paid a lot of money, but they were not good jobs. So now I have the money, but I quit my jobs. And so I'm just unemployed, slowly running out of money. Okay, man, that's all. I will meet you in the morning. Yeah, have a good night. Thanks for coming by. So I think mine are going to be fixed. My variables, I mean, fixed memory size, my arrays, and everything else. Bye bye. Bye bye. That's one of my favorite things about the internet. It's just people from all over the world. Any country could just like pop in and be like, "Hey," and we have a little chat, and then they go on their way. And I might see them again later. And that's amazing. It's amazing that I share a planet with so many people from so many different, like all over the place, all over the globe, all over this big old ball we're all standing on, stuck to. Real fucking cool. So my goal is to basically have fixed sizes for everything so that I do know how much is needed to compile. And hopefully it should be a small amount. But like there's so much to consider. Because what I'm realizing now is that if I just declare this pointer, this array of pointers, like it's going to initialize them all to null. Is that enough? Is it going to initialize them all with the size of connection? Probably. It'll probably do that. Like I almost want to avoid malloc if I don't need to use it. See, then with stuff like this, they're trying to make a dynamic array struct.
Assert.
Well, it's not assert. Assert. I'm pretty sure you just pass a condition into assert, and if it does not evaluate to true, assert throws an error. But I don't remember for sure. That is what I am asserting. The Linux man pages are flaky today. They don't like to load for me. Maybe I've been reading them too much. I don't know. It's probably some kind of server thing. Because I think C is smart enough to recognize that I'm declaring an array of connections here and I'm declaring them to be specific lengths. So even though I'm initializing them all to null, it's going to set aside enough memory for each one to store a connection of maximum size. But then the problem is that I've got stuff here like this character pointer that doesn't actually have a maximum size or a defined size. And so it's like, is that going to cause some problems? Is that going to... Array decays to pointer automatically. Note that buffer must have an everlasting lifetime, or you have to make sure that it's not deallocated while you're using it or referencing it. Allocating from a subroutine and returning will cause undefined behavior because memory will be deallocated on return. For instance, don't do this, as we often see in questions here. Buffer is already gone. Bugs introduced by this kind of UB are nasty because the code seems to work for a while until the unallocated buffer gets clobbered by another function call. I should probably eat something. Can of peas might be easiest, or pouring chips on a plate and just licking them up. But the chips I have are not, like, super healthy. It's like hot Cheetos and Cheez-Its, and I mean, Goldfish might be kind of... Well, I got the flavor blasted extra cheddar, so it's probably less. It's not that bad, though. It's got the... it's got the nutrition facts on the side. It's only 11% sodium. This is pretty good. 6% fat, 5% saturated fat. Like cheese, I guess. So I might eat some of that. I kind of want to make a burrito, but like not really. I don't even know if I'd use the refried beans or the Chilean beans. Can of peas would be good because that gets me a lot of fiber. I guess Chilean beans or refried beans would also get me a lot of fiber. Refried beans would just like, it's like glue. Just like a solid paste like Play-Doh. But then the Chilean beans is like the opposite problem where it's just too runny, oily. I want something in between. I could mix them. I could mix the refried and the Chilean beans. And a little bit of corn or something, but then I got like 3 cans open and I can't use all those before they start to go bad. I'm a small man. Ugh. I do not like the turns that life has taken. I do not like the people that I spent my life on. Here's assert. Abort the program if the assertion is false. Hell yeah. And this is a pretty common pattern in dynamic arrays, is that once you reach the old limit, you double it. And so that way it's like, all right, well, now you got more than enough. And then if you ever reach that again, it's like, all right, well, now you got more than enough. And it's like, yeah, eventually they will no longer reach the point of doubling. But like, it's a nice kind of baseline, I guess, for expansion. Oh yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. Oh yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. So we've got an array of connection pointers. Pointers to connections. Why do I want it that way and not just an array of connections? I don't know. This is where I just gotta like sit back and think. I'm gonna try to find some music. Sonic Adventure 2 OST. Yeah, you got me. But I do not want a list, you stupid shit. But also, sorry, I'm not gonna play this just yet. Just cue it up there. Because what I want is to watch something else. I don't know what. Hang on, let me drag this over here. I 3D printed everything. Oh my god, this sounds wasteful.
Check out this awesome Dungeons and Dragons map I made for my friend.
Now, this might be sponsored by whatever software or hardware allowed him to do this. It does look neat, you know, I'll definitely give it that, but like, I don't know. At a certain point, like, what are we doing? How indulgent are we gonna be? I don't think I even want to watch this one, honestly. I don't know.
It's huge, and I've added so many little details and secrets. But
That's
we're not
cool.
stopping there. Because when they're done playing at that table, they're gonna step inside a digital recreation.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
More immersive, just so we get to recreate our favorite moments from the game. Why? I ask myself that question every day. Is it all worth it? The 10 seconds at the beginning of this video took months to make just to immerse the players in the best D&D experience of their lives. You want to get immersed? Step inside my mind. It's been 3 years since we've released Season 2 of Son of a Dungeon. 3 years of silence, 3 years of wondering if we'd ever make another season. Now, I love D&D because it's collaborative storytelling where you get to gamble with narrative decisions. But how do you share that magic with people who weren't at the table? Most of D&D exists purely in the theater of the mind, but the gap between imagination and reality, that's what we're trying to solve. So in Son of a Dungeon, we digitally recreate the tables and use virtual production to place ourselves right on the...
Yeah, so that that's a little bit more value, I guess, than what I was thinking. Because I was thinking like, oh, you printed out this really cool thing just so you could sit at the table and play with it. Like, that's still pretty cool. That's a nice show off of your 3D printing techniques and all these other things. But also like, what that's it. That it's over. That's done. And that's it. And I'm like, no, actually, because the stuff that we 3D printed, we had 3D files for. Meaning if we 3D scan a person, we could put that 3D scan of the person in those same 3D files to put them into the game that they were sitting around. Like, oh, wow, that's actually really cool. I'm super down on this, actually. Or up on this. English is broken. I'm gonna make some mac and cheese. Yep. Not good fancy kind, just shitty microwave kind. Yay! I'm not married.
board. That allows you to get a clearer picture of what we're seeing too. Now, creating the first 2 seasons was monumental, literally the largest self-funded projects we've ever undertaken. And when we finished, well, I was proud. I think we all were. We were exhausted, but proud. But then, I watched them back, and I watched them again, and I couldn't shake this feeling. Here's the brutal truth. you could kind of listen to our show as a podcast and get the same experience. Despite all the work and hours and months we put into the VFX, I mean, the shots and renders only comprise like 1% of an episode. And that wasn't what we set out to do. We wanted to visualize these games, to bridge that gap between imagination and reality. And in a way, well, it felt a little bit like we failed. So that's why we put the show on hiatus. Not because we didn't want to make more, but because we didn't know how to make it better. Now, our show relies on digitizing game boards. And for the last 10 years, in the last 2 seasons of this show, I've been using Dwarven Forge terrain. It's awesome. It's easily the best pre-painted terrain that money can buy. Why? It's stunning. It's intricate, beautiful, sturdy. Go get some for yourself. But we've had a little bit of a problem using this, because in order to digitize it, we have to photo scan it. And when you photo scan it, well, it starts to reveal flaws, not because of the creators of the terrain, but simply the technology behind photo scanning in the first place. You see, when we're digitizing it, well, we have to take something that's 2 inches tall and make it 10 feet, 20 feet tall. And in doing so, well, things start to fall apart. Even though we're throwing millions of polygons at it, 16K textures, all that stuff, I mean, look, the dichotomy of scale is too extreme for it to handle it. When you do those live action shots where the camera's right down in the terrain, it just doesn't hold up. So earlier this year, after working with Bamboo Labs on a few projects, I got back into 3D printing and stumbled upon Printable Scenery. They're creators of digitally sculpted gaming terrain. Interesting, right? So after I bought and printed one of the models, it actually sparked some new inspiration. What if we actually start with digital assets and bring them to life? It's kind of like the reverse approach. You see, the Printable Scenery team also created Terrain Tinker, where you can take their modular sets and construct them into any configuration and then prepare them for 3D printing. It looks incredible. But here's the silver bullet. They've already digitally painted these as well. That means you can export an STL and 3D print it, and also a GLD, and drag that directly into Unreal Engine, ready to render. And why is this cool? Well, it's because we get to skip that photo scanning phase because the models are already textured, and we already have high quality assets of each piece. So that quality bottleneck that we're talking about, it's nearly solved. This is really niche, right? Like, who else needs a physical model and a perfect 3D replica of something at the same time, other than us, right? I mean, like, we're VFX guys, right? This is right up our alley. It's perfect.
I feel like that'd be a
It's easy
fairly
to get
common use
excited
case
about this,
in
but reality
movie
did
making and
eventually
other
hit.
applications.
Previously, when we do these games,
What do I know?
I'd drag up my crates of Dwarven Forge terrain, and I'd sit crisscross applesauce like a kid playing with their Legos,
Fuck yeah, dude.
plucking and placing pieces until
Oh
the
my
box
God.
ran out. But this,
Weird random memory here, just as an aside. I used to have a large bin of Lego, and I might still in storage. And for whatever reason, probably because it was an Egyptian Lego set. One of my main sets, my biggest ones, was an Egyptian Lego set where there was like a big temple sarcophagus in the middle, and there was a button you could press on the side that would launch the mummy out. I don't know why, but that was the action on this Lego set. It was kind of Indiana Jones inspired, I think. And but when I had all my pieces mixed into a giant bin, like, I had to sift through a bunch of different Legos to try to find the one piece that I needed. And sometimes it'd be a really small and specific piece to, make a tree or whatever. And so, like, in my head, there were slaves! There was a crowd of slaves, and as I was sifting through the pieces myself, they'd be in my head looking at all the different, pieces that I could see and be like, not that one, not that one. And meanwhile, there's some asshole up on high, cracking the whip, being like, more, faster. So I'd be like, shh, we don't see it, sir. I'll destroy you if you can't find me the piece that I need. Stuff like that, just to try to make the process of searching a little more fun, I guess, or... Oh, man, abuse is a bitch.
This is going to be different. First off, Son of a Dungeon means humongous custom maps. To match this scale with only 3D prints, it's safe to say that I'm going to be doing more printing than I've done in my entire life. But in this world where we're starting with digital assets, there's no limit to the pieces we have now. We can build anything. There's infinite possibilities. It's like a kid in the candy store, but the candy store goes on for miles. And with that, the logistics start piling up very fast. You see, we have 3 3D printers at our studio, and we have a 5-foot by 3-foot game table. To cover it all with multiple floors, we need like 30 modules or something. And if it takes each model 24 to 48 hours to print, I mean, this is gonna take a long time. Our first session's about a month away, and the math doesn't really work out, not even close. it's not just about the volume of printing. By having to print it all, we now have to paint it all. I'm kind of digging myself into a hole here. It's right about now that I'm feeling I kind of maybe just want to abandon this project. The amount of filament we're going to go through.
True. I mean, the waste is one of my biggest issues with this whole project. But, like, the paint really doesn't matter. It matters to the players around the table. But then once you digitize them, you can texture it however you want. You could spend as much time as you need to render it a certain way. Like, the models could be a little bit shitty.
To get this done is going to be pounds and pounds of plastic, and these will be like one-off custom pieces that only work for this specific table. Yeah, maybe I should give up on this. Okay, well, look, when I first played Dungeons and Dragons, it was actually just on a kitchen table with like salt shakers and Legos for characters and terrain. And you know what? I actually loved that D&D just as much. But, you know, as a VFX artist, when I get a cool idea for a game world or something like this in my head, manifesting it becomes non-negotiable. You know, not for like views or money, but literally just for my friends sitting at that setup. That's what it's always been about, creating the best D&D I possibly can for the people who dedicate their time towards that shared experience, the players and viewers alike. So I made the decision, stop trying to solve the whole season. Just focus on one game, prove the concept, then figure out the rest. All right, let's tackle the first problem. We have to expand our printing power. Each piece is gonna take 24, 48 hours-ish to print. Based on our table size, I'm quickly gonna have to print over 30 square feet of terrain stacked up. We could technically do it with the printers at our studio as long as somebody stays at the studio 24 hours a day for the next month. Or option two, yay, Bambu Labs is the sponsor of the video. How perfect. I mean, what are the chances, right? And you see, Bambu Labs, woof, their printers are phenomenal because for people like me who like 3D printing more than they know about it, they're some of the most easiest straight fixes to get pro out. Now, with all this printing power, planning becomes critical. We have a lot of plastic to print and not a lot of time. And if I print a single piece incorrectly, it could ripple throughout the whole board. So let's roll out the graph paper. I mean, look, this is kind of funny because this is just like how I started playing D&D, you know, the laminated grid and some dry erase markers. Not much changes, I guess, right? So what I've done here is I've cut up pieces of grid paper to roughly the room size. Within here, I can start getting a little more detailed, like, oh, I'm gonna have some stuff up here, I want some stairs, I'm gonna have an area here. And so this one fits right over here. So we have two stairwells, boom, and the doorway lines up with where the doorway is going to be later. Basically, since I'm going to be creating every piece from scratch here, I would much rather have a problem here on the paper than in the plastic after they're printed. So now that I have these individual modules and the dimensions of these rooms, I can head over to Terrain Tinker and take these 2D layouts and turn them into 3D. This part gets really fun because you start to create spaces that you couldn't if you were using these physical modular pieces. For example, if you wanted a multi-story area, well, it's going to be a little hard to stack these up. But when you're printing them out as large units, well, you can start to have these floating areas that just perfectly rest there. It gives you an opportunity to create much more dynamic and like realistic environments with elevation changes and everything. But I'm still not ready to print. This last stage is blocking out the whole map in 3D by combining all the modules I've created now. It's so important. I don't want to waste filament, plastic, or precious time. So in Cinema 4D, I've got my full digital mock-up to ensure all the pieces are actually fitting together. Are the walls flush? Are all the floors aligned? And you'd be surprised that after all these measurements, there would frequently be problems. I've gone through tons of revisions of each module to make sure, well, it all aligns and snaps together. Now, it's finally time to hit print. All these machines running simultaneously, 24 hours a day. I'm now in charge of my very own printing farm. That's right, I'm a real salt of the earth farmer, you could say. Now, while things are going, I'm setting up smaller batches here and there, some figurines, furniture, accessories. I'm also having a lot of fun with these new 2D to 3D workflows where I can take a photo of something and generate a 3D model out of it. It's really cool. These workflows allow me to take pictures of characters or monsters or furniture or whatever and actually get a physical miniature figurine out of it. Is there anything that Comfy UI can't do? Hunyuan 2.1 is stellar. It's so cool to use this stuff. And now, 30 days later, all of the final prints are complete. Just look at them.
It's so satisfying having all these pieces finally together, fitting perfectly with so much detail at such a large scale.
Now, all these things look fantastic, right, when they're done printing, but there's one major problem. They're not painted. We gotta paint them. And I'm not a painter, so this is where our buddy Joe comes in. Joe, we're both very alike. We both make D&D shows. And this is perfect because Joe knows exactly what we need to do to get this all done.
For the most part, I'm gonna try to go as much as I can to the color scheme that that Sam gave me for the digital rendings. There's gonna be room to, you know, experiment here and there, little bits of fun that the players can discover on their own to sort of, you know, immerse themselves a little bit more.
The show has some of the most remarkable miniature work I've ever seen. At the end of the day, it's super inspirational because it makes me excited to make this show as best as we can make it to. It's even got me painting some pieces for myself. So yeah, I'm not such a bad painter after all, right? Maybe not as good as he is, but it's enjoyable. This is relaxing.
You don't have to be
right?
great
It's
to
very
like paint.
You know,
I
maybe
did a few little
watch
mini
this
figs,
video.
not many, but
You should go paint
it's
some
very
of them.
satisfying,
Oh, get some watercolors. That'd be great.
very soothing.
Oh, I have an idea.
You know, if you feel
can
like
3D
spending
print a
time on
5x3
something,
foot
if you feel like
game
you have no
setup for
time
your
at all to
friends
do
and
anything
paint
at all,
that.
it might
I don't know, whatever
stress you
want.
out. I don't know.
Anyways,
Now that Joe's finished painting all the pieces, they are coming to life, and they look incredible. But I didn't make this to enjoy it alone. Let's see what my friends think. And open them. Here we go.
I'm so excited.
It lifts?
It's a pretty cool setup, I will be honest.
What? Who are these guys?
No, Sam, this is incredible.
Yeah,
Wow.
dude, the water feature.
Now, one of my favorite things about this table is that it's being used to introduce and add a new cast of characters to Son of a Dungeon Season 3. You'll be able to watch that on our website next year, where they explore all the twists and turns of this table physically and virtually.
so it's been a ton of work getting to this point, and we're really lucky that the Bamboo Labs teams and the Printable Scenery team has gotten on board with this project, because there's been so many new challenges along the way. But this first table that I built here is actually, well, just the beginning, because there's a whole season left to do. That means a couple more of these, and we have a long road ahead of us. But I can't wait to share more about this process, because, well, there's going to be some ways that we're going to be bringing these game tables and characters to life that no one's ever done before. And I just can't wait to share it with you guys. It's going to be incredibly
My
special.
issue is still the waste. Like, it's great. Yeah, that reactions was priceless, but like, is it really priceless? Is anything priceless? Price is a lot of plastic. It's cool, but like, he's gonna be doing more. Like, oh man, you almost want to like reuse these as much as possible. Like, so it's not a waste. But I don't know. I'm sure they'll figure something out. I hope. Like, we got sponsored by a company invested in wasting plastic. Oh. Is that good? That seems bad. Not the greatest food, but I have eaten now. That's good. The schnoodles. The mac and cheese noodles will help absorb the alcohol that I am continuing to drink. I hate stupid people. Which is most people. Gen 2 Russian Pokedex discovered. What does that mean?
Did you know Feraligatr
different?
slaughters Protestants, Pseudo-Wudo cheat on their taxes, and Aridos are all fascists? A
What?
few years ago, we translated a Pokedex book widely distributed in former Soviet countries in the early 2000s.
Oh my
the
God.
Gen 1 games were officially localized in 6 languages, but Russian wasn't one of them, leaving the world's largest country out in the cold. Kids were playing Red and Blue anyway, but they couldn't understand the text. One was a little Russian girl named Nastya, who loved Pokemon but couldn't find out much about him. Her father was Alexander Zintinsky, a well-known author and publisher who wanted to make his daughter and friends happy. So he studied the franchise and resources available to him, wrote a Pokedex in Russian, and published it as a book. For many kids, it was the only Pokedex they could understand, and it became incredibly popular. But it painted a bizarre picture of the Pokemon world, much different to what we got everywhere else. A world of politics, espionage, death, and almost every Pokemon having to work a job to make ends meet.
Oh my
To be
god!
clear, the book was not sanctioned by the Pokemon Company, and eventually got hit with a lawsuit. As a matter of fact, the day after we uploaded our video translating it, Pokemon lawyers saw it and raised a bit of a stink. But despite all that, the book's still been printed and sold in major Russian bookstores into this decade, possibly to this day. And you guys really seem to enjoy our video about it. So after we found ourselves with an unfinished, unpublished second generation Russian Pokedex, our curiosity was piqued. Fans tirelessly archive the Japanese and Western sides of Pokemon, but it's worth preserving other cultures' history as well.
Yeah.
Fun too. Before we get to the entries, we want to thank Annette Ilvers, a prominent member of the Russian Pokemon fandom who brought this to our attention, and did the grueling work of translating both Pokedexes.
Wow.
Originally, it was Nob Agasawara that put us in touch, who was the official English localizer of the first 4 generations of Pokemon games.
Wow.
None of us can say with certainty why the Gen 2 Russian Dex was never finished, but from what Annette's gathered, it seems to have already been in the works when Zintinsky started getting sued over the first book. As a result, he barely got more than halfway finished, up to number 206. Since publishing it was impossible this time, instead of letting it go to waste, he decided to post it on his website. One of the highlights of the Gen 1 Russian Dex was the original artwork, but unfortunately, none was made for Gen 2, because it was never completed. You may recall our last video ended with the first 6 Jodomon that were included in the Kanto book, as a teaser for the cancelled sequel decks. We'll include them here too, so all the Jodomon are together. But if that video is fresh in your memory, you can skip to the timestamp on screen and get right to the new stuff.
I didn't watch it.
All that said, let's get to the Gen 2 Russian decks. Number 152, Chikorita. Chikorita like to follow the latest fashions and know everything about perfumes and cosmetics. Their favorite brand is Yves Rocher, and they pour their perfume all over themselves. Chikorita are professional intelligence officers. In other words, they're spies, especially in Latin America, where they extract secrets from the Argentinians and sell them to Uruguayans, or vice versa. It doesn't matter much to them as long as they're paid. Chikorita's attempts at spying in Europe didn't work out well because the only foreign language they speak is Spanish. Chikorita danced sexy sambas and rumbas for generals, who are so enamored they become like obedient little bunnies for Chikorita and hand over all their secrets. They willingly
What the fuck?
unlock secret lockboxes and show Chikorita photographs of missiles that the Argentinian government bought from the Chinese. Number 153.
Because Chikorita does sexy dances? You show her your pictures of Argentinian missiles?
Bayleaf. After Chikorita's identities are exposed, they turn into Bayleaf, changing their colors,
Her identities?
habits, and even their gender. In
Oh, right, because she's a spy. So after she gets found out, she just changes
other
into
words,
a
they
baby?
transform themselves, in a way, into young men. But they retain a lot of their girlish habits, like making eyes at people,
What?
wearing jewelry, and using lipstick.
Am I wrong, or were Chikorita male or female? Or maybe the starters weren't.
They inherited it all from Chikorita after she was captured by the Uruguay security services. Bayleaf never admit guilt, always deny everything, and call themselves prisoners of conscience. Even though they don't have any conscience to speak of, you could tell just by gazing into their shameless lying eyes.
What? They have no conscience, you could tell, but just by gazing into their shameless, lying eyes. Look at this motherfucker. Look at this shameless, lying, conscienceless being, this shell, this artifice.
Eventually, they're set free, Then they make their way into the Atlantic Ocean, where they use the leaves on their heads as antennae to continue transmitting information.
Okay, yeah, why not? That makes just much sense as
154
Pokemon.
Meganium. Meganium can be tracked and caught by the scent of their cologne in Bolivian rainforests, where they go on goodwill missions for Colombian drug dealers.
This is too much lore. I can't keep up.
Goodwill is, after all, well paid. Meganium's massive size allows them to feel safe among the wild tribes of the Amazon. Sometimes the tribes even elect Meganium as their chief and build nests for them from eucalyptus branches and bring them mangoes. That doesn't last long though, because the United States intelligence agencies eventually catch Meganium and make them stand trial. Meganium trials always get a lot of press attention. They remind Meganium of their younger adventures as Chikorita and Bayleaf. But Meganium raises its hackles like a turkey and insists they're the legitimate leaders of the natives. In the twilight of their lives, they always end up spending their final days in prison.
What the fuck is this? Oh my god. I'm drooling on myself because it's so fucking stupid. I can't close my mouth. The visuals really help too. In their final days, they always end up in prison, these Meganiums.
Number 155, Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil usually approach people sideways, slouching and looking pitiful, like they're in need of sympathy or some good advice.
Aw.
Then, all of a sudden, they'll boldly ask, "Want to see how my back burns?" Out of surprise, people say sure. Then Cyndaquil sneeze twice and little yellow flames light up on their spines. Then they have the audacity to demand money for the performance, insisting they have the best backfires. If you're in Russia, you shouldn't pay more than 10 rubles, and if you're abroad, you shouldn't pay anything. In China, Cyndaquil get fined for panhandling, and in Iran, they get deported for it. They're useful, though, for getting rid of mosquitoes. 156, Quilava. Quilava are proud, independent Pokemon with burning tails and torches on their heads, who volunteer as soldiers for justice. Since justice is being fought for all across the world, Quilava can be found on any continent, in any country, under any flag. Usually they form into squads and drop from helicopters onto the bases of separatists or mercenaries. Quilava burn them all like napalm, but they're not as expensive as napalm. Recently, it's become fashionable to keep Quilava as house pets instead of cats. They're very entertaining, but their masters never get a moment of peace and quiet because they have to chase after Quilava with buckets of water wherever they go. If they run into a closet, you'll have to call the fire department. Number 157, Typhlosion. It's very easy to piss off a Typhlosion, and if that happens, it'll explode like a landmine. Or at least that's what it looks like. Typhlosion literally disappear into a huge fireball. But if you wait around until the smoke clears, it'll still be there. But most people never get a chance to see it because their explosions are so huge. Every building within a 300-meter radius gets destroyed, and beyond that, there's another kilometer of broken glass and people injured so badly they'll be deformed for the rest of their lives. Typhlosion are pretty scary Pokemon. People treat them nicely out of fear, feeding them popcorn, letting them sleep on their rugs in their bedrooms, and catering to their every whim, especially in hot spots. But those morons still blow themselves up over the smallest problems, just on a whim. Sometimes several times in one day. It's very annoying. Number 158, Totodile. The little crocodile Totodile loves to bite and is quite skilled at it. It doesn't discriminate. Parents, teachers, the police, no one is safe. Trainers keep Totodile in metal muzzles and only take them off for biting royales. Biting royales are held in Brazil at Maracanã Stadium, where about 300 Totodile are released into the field behind thick 2-meter tall glass. The last one to survive is deemed the winner. Usually it lasts about 4 hours and draws massive crowds that scream and go wild, and by the end start biting each other as well. Lots of blood, ambulances, and doctors.
What a spectacle. That sounds like a football game, I guess. I mean, American football, I don't know about other countries. People can get violent sometimes. I don't go. The biting royale, like what is this lore? This Russian guy just like made all this shit up. And he was like, yeah, so they bite real bad. It's like, okay, I could kind of see that. Like they're chompers, they're little chompy dudes. So their owners always put them in muzzles. Oh wow, okay, that seems kind of fucked up. Except for when they do the biting royales. Oh my god, what the hell is happening?
It's a pretty chaotic spectacle. To prepare for biting royales, Totodile sharpen their teeth with a file and memorize some useful prayers. Number 159, Croconaw. Biting royale champions evolve into the fierce Croconaw, possessing 48 teeth that regrow whenever one falls out. A lot of Croconaw get hired by dental schools, where students practice by pulling their teeth. By morning, Croconaws' teeth grow back and they're ready for more. Their teeth are removed under general anesthesia, of course. Otherwise, Croconaw would tear the students to pieces.
Oh my God!
But despite those precautions, casualties are inevitable.
What?
Typically, only 80 students out of 100 end up as dentists,
Oh
while
my
the remaining
God.
20 are maimed for life. The few Croconaw who don't work at dental schools find work delivering Sunday sermons at churches where thrill seekers gather. After wrapping up the sermon, Croconaw charges at the parishioners, at which point, well, God help them. Number 160 for Alligator. Feraligatr could have been the most terrifying Pokemon of all, but chose the path of humility and mercy just in time.
Whole thing, fuck, Feraligatr chose the path of humility and mercy just in time.
Tall, dignified, and clad in a cassock, Feraligatr are a living testament to what Catholicism can do for battle-hardened Pokemon.
Okay.
The brutal battles at Maracana, the mauled dentists, the partitioners trembling in fear, those days are behind them. That said, you should never bring up the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre in their presence. That doesn't go over well with Feraligatr. I'm gonna cut in real quick here for some brief context. The real-life massacre was part of the French Wars of Religion in the 16th century. Long story short, Catholics got upset that France's princess was marrying a Protestant, so they hunted Protestants in the street and killed about 20,000 of them, including women and children.
Yeah, that's what God wants. God wants you to just slaughter everyone who disagrees with you. Sorry, has anyone ever seen God, heard God? Because I've seen and heard real people, human beings. And here they are dying in the name of a God no one's ever seen or heard. Wow, that's fucked up. Wow, that's unforgivable. Wow, that is intolerable, unacceptable. There is no God, grow the fuck up.
Okay, back to the Pokedex. When they think of the slain Catholics and suffering infants, Feraligatr sees the first Protestant they can find and tear them to shreds. Afterwards, they spend 3 days repenting in prayer. Incidentally, Feraligatr's teeth still grow back, though there's little use for them. Unless, of course, someone mentions St. Bartholomew. Number 161, Sentret.
The hell?
These petite, tail-headed Pokemon are famous for the ability to stand on their tails and bounce, squealing like a siren. Sentret's skills are put to use in big city streets where they work to replace traffic lights, standing in intersections, towering on their tails, and screaming at the top of their lungs, "Go! Go! Go! Move! Move! Move!" and twitching their ears to direct traffic. It's a pretty tense situation, but at least it's cheaper than installing conventional traffic lights. "Pedestrians, your turn! Go, go, go! I'll teach you to love freedom!" they yell. The people scurry in every direction, feeling thankful to Sentret for creating order out of chaos. Number 162, Furret. Furret have the face of a cat, long fluffy tails, and small paws for running fast and hunting Rattata. They live in nests.
I don't hate the idea of Sentret as like a crossing guard, basically, but like, why do they gotta be like, go, go, go? Like, shouldn't they be more like calm and polite and things? I don't know.
Drain pipes and love
nuts.
car trunks. They make excellent companions who love talking about their favorite foods, chips, waffles, and caramels. The chip company Estrella hires Furret as consultants who taste test and rate every batch that comes out of the oven. Hunting Furret is banned worldwide, except in Pakistan, where it's fashionable to wear bathrobes with collars made from furret tails. In retaliation for these atrocities, Furret waged war against the Pakistani government, blowing up trains, cars, and bicycles.
Oh my god!
Number 163,
Furret,
Hoothoot.
no.
Custom dictates addressing Hoothoot as comrades. Comrade
What?
Hoothoot are disciplined and
Comrade
precise
Hoothoot?
creatures who, despite having 2 stubby legs, always insist on standing on just one, often swaying side to side like a pendulum. Comrade Hoothoot's steady swaying makes them natural timers, prompting phrases like, "I'll be there in 10 Hoothoot," or "A Hoothoot in time can save 9. It'll happen just before you can say Hoothoot Robinson. It only takes 5 Hoothoot. Some distinguished Hoothoot conduct military bands. It's a remarkable sight to behold. Hoothoot in a general's uniform swaying rhythmically as brass instruments gleam in the sun during a parade in Red Square. Number 164, Noctowl. Noctowl, with their relentless observation skills, pierce through darkness, deep water, armor, and even concrete with their unyielding gaze, which make them unpopular with some folks. These incorruptibly honest Pokemon excel as prosecutors, proofreaders, bulldozer operators, and any other career that demands a sharp eye and unwavering conscience. Before Noctowl can be appointed prosecutor, first it has to get caught in a net. Sneaking up on one is nearly impossible due to their 360-degree vision and sharp perception, but a few cunning trainers manage to master the art of capturing Noctowl, then sell them for a hefty sum to the Ministry of Justice and the FBI. Number 165, Ladybug. Ladybug are quite cautious little bugs about the size of dining tables, who have an insatiable love of perfumes and cosmetics. Stores selling fragrances, shampoos, and creams are always swarming with Ladybug, jostling at the counters, sniffing bottles and proclaiming, "Because I'm worth it." They suffer greatly from their lack of eyelashes, but compensate by painting their little horns with nail polish, while the trendiest get gold lip earrings or forehead tattoos. All dolled up and scented with perfume, they fly in small flocks to London and Paris, casting flirtatious glances at young men of diverse nationalities with eyes as big as saucers. Number 166, Ledian. Ledian are mysterious little bugs who excel at charming admirers, with glistening dust from their wings enchanting gullible Slowpoke, hot-headed Hitmonchan, and even Giant Lapras. Pokemon snip Ledian's photos out of magazines and then pin them up in their burrows. They work as fashion models, strutting down catwalks on their 6 gilded legs, but more often they don't work at all, instead serving as live decorations in the villas of Greek and Italian millionaires. Extremely delicate creatures, they adore pineapples and fireworks, roller coasters, and strawberry ice cream. You can find them at the Cannes Film Festival, on the beaches of Florida, or in Las Vegas casinos, gambling away their admirers' fortune at roulette tables. When a Ledian gets old, she flies into a flame and kills herself. Number 167, Spinarak. Spinarak lie still, bothering no one, idly twitching their fangs, then without warning spring into the air to ambush their prey from above. More often though, they hunt with their webs. They can stretch wide as soccer goals, trapping flying Pokemon like Pidgey and Fearow, putting them to sleep with bites from their venomous fangs before sucking their blood. Spinarak make a living trading stocks, speculating currency fluctuations, and lending out high-interest loans. They're bloodsuckers in every sense of the word. Many are unimaginably wealthy, stashing their fortunes in Swiss banks and
What
attending
the hell?
annual Spinarak summits in the Canary Islands. That's where the fearless vigilantes like Vulpix track them down and blow up as many Spinarak as they can. In case you forgot, the Gen 1 Russian decks, Vulpix are described as amateur terrorists who delight in blowing things up. Number 168, Ariados. Mean-spirited and armed to the teeth, Ariados are fascists who revel in parades, anthems, and banners. When a formation of Ariados soars through the sky, buzzing Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries, other Pokemon spit in disgust and newspapers denounce them. Ariados adore law and order, children, and liverwurst. Most of them are devoted family Pokemon, tending to their vegetable gardens, fixing the roofs on their nest, and patching holes in their webs. But as soon as the Ariados hear the anthem blare, they rear up, bristle, and rush into formation. They all shout, "Hail!" at the top of their lungs, without the slightest clue what it means. If someone explains it, they refuse to believe it. Deep down, they suffer from being unloved, but don't know what to do about it. The thought of befriending flies or mosquitoes never even crosses their minds. Instead, they just keep shouting that Ariados are superior to all other insects. Before we get to Crobat, we should remind
Gyarados are like Nazis. What the hell? They're like white supremacists, straight up.
you that last time, Golbat was established as a washed-up has-been, an army veteran who reminisces about his younger days as Zubat, but now past their prime and no use to anyone. A newly discovered Pokemon, Crobat's a remarkable example on how Pokemon can overcome illness and old age. They evolved from weary old veteran Golbat, who seemed destined for a quiet, fading end. Until out of nowhere, suddenly they grow another pair of wings and turn into Crobat. What gave them the strength to fly again? A strict routine? Medicine? A special diet? No. Golbat can only evolve if in the depths of a dark cave, it meets a loving little bat who kindles its cold heart and dries its tears. Most Golbat never meet that special someone, but when they do, they're granted new wings to fly through the skies once more. Number 170, Chinchou. Chinchou are notorious pranksters who live deep in the ocean's depths, wielding 2 electrically charged antennae they use for tickling whales, dolphins, and even sharks with little jolts of electricity. They recharge themselves by leeching power from passing submarines. Naval intelligence agencies around the world eagerly recruit them, but they shamelessly juggle alliances to multiple countries at once. For example, one Chinchou was leaking classified information to the US, Russia, China, Indonesia, and Paraguay, until it eventually got caught by Paraguayan spies and drowned in the Caribbean Sea. Sometimes Chinchou sell hot tea in train stations as a side hustle. It really doesn't suit them though, as they much prefer underwater Morse code and Duracell batteries, which they eagerly accept as bribes for state secrets. Number 171, Lantern. Lantern are jesters, clowns, and tricksters, with 2 little lanterns resembling jingle bells. It's quite a sight to see an entire school of lantern gathering in the deep sea, flickering their lights. You can find them in Polyrath's underwater palaces, amusing their gloomy rulers, or in the Barcelona aquariums, where they're admired by tourists, or in the lakes of Finland. Everywhere they go, they dart through the water, laughing, leaping, teasing crowds, and brimming with mischief. Under the cover of night, Lantern dim their lights, slip into the cracks of underwater cliffs, and finally become their true selves. Quiet, wise, sorrowful Pokemon who know everything about life but choose not to tell anyone. You'll recall, by the way, that Polyrath are super wealthy and live in underwater palaces where they collect heavy weapons and wage war on the US Navy. Number 172, Pichu. Not long ago, the world was shocked when a baby Pikachu was discovered on the slopes of Mount Fuji. They named it Pichu. They're curious creatures whose electricity's pretty weak, just enough to power a small flashlight, as a matter of fact, and they also read a lot. Keeping a Pichu at home instead of a cat's become trendy lately thanks to their small size. Pichu eagerly play with children and quickly learn to talk. They love waking up their owners in the morning with their cheerful little voices. If they see mice or rats in the master's house, Pichu negotiate and persuade them to leave. No threats, no harsh words, just simple, logical arguments that the home's only big enough for one rodent, Pichu. They drive the message home by giving the mice a tiny shock which sends them packing. Number 173, Cleffa. Cleffa are young Clefairy who lazily drift through life, riding waves and jumping from branch.
Yeah, wait a second. No threats, but a tiny shock. Okay, well, the tiny shock implies that you could do more, or do that again. Like, you skipped the threat. You skipped the threat and went straight to the punishment. And the implied threat is that the punishment will be made more severe if they do not comply. Kind of fucked, but whatever. The whole thing is super fucked.
Branch to branch without a care in the world or a thought for the future. Cleffa go to school in Japan where people tell them it's time to grow up and come to their senses. How can I come to something that isn't there, wonders Cleffa, then heads off to visit their Russian friend Ladrionia.
How can I come to something that isn't there? Well, imagination. But everyone has senses. Cleffa is using their senses to hear these words. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You do have senses, you dumb fuck.
Fenya. Gotta hop in for context again. Ladrionia Fenya's a Russian idiom that's hard to translate, but basically a way of telling an annoying person to get lost. Zatinsky's adapted the expression into a Russian Pokemon. I guess because Fenya sounds like it could be a name. He invents Russian Pokemon a couple more times throughout this Pokedex, though we don't get any art for them.
He just
back
invents
to it.
Pokemon?
The friendship between
Okay.
Cleffa and Fenya deserves a chapter of its own, but unfortunately, not much is known about Russian Pokemon, as hardly anyone's interested in studying them. Cleffa and Fenya don't care though. They spend their days lazily cracking sunflower seeds and pine nuts together in the Siberian taiga, where Fenya lives, while Cleffa teaches it programming languages it learned in Japanese school. Number 174, Igglybuff. Igglybuff, the fluffy, weightless offspring of Jigglypuff, looks like cotton candy the size of basketballs. It soaks up sounds like sponges absorb water. You can find them in conservatories, music schools, and backstage at pop concerts, where they lie quietly in a corner, absorbing music they'll sing after they grow into Jigglypuff. Igglybuff argue amongst each other what's better, classical or pop music. Their arguments get so heated and loud that someone eventually shoves them into a bag and carries them into the wilderness. When they get there, they wiggle out, calm down, agree to disagree, and go their separate ways, some to symphony halls and others to discos. Number 175, Togepi. Togepi are often mistaken for Kinder Surprises, which they find very insulting. They're magical Pokemon, not chocolate shells with ridiculous toys inside. Togepi bring happiness, so parents put them in their children's rooms, where they not only make the kids happy, but also make sure they get their homework done, pack their books for school, and put their clothes away. Children argue with their Togepi a lot, despite all the happiness they bring. Happiness is intangible and invisible, but their constant nagging's hard to overlook. Togepi don't take offense though and stand firm, knowing discipline paves the way for contentment. When those kids grow up, most thank their Togepi, unless they're morons, and then pass them on to their own children. Number 176, Togetic. Just like Togepi, Togetic bring happiness too, but in a more tangible form, granting wishes. If you see a Togetic, it's customary to make a wish, since there's a chance it'll come true. Togetic can be seen in the early mornings gliding over rooftops. They have wings, but fly without flapping them. Where they disappear during daytime remains a mystery, perhaps to secret offices where they catalog wishes and orchestrate their fulfillment. Some people tried taming Togetic and keeping them at home like Togepi, so they can get an endless supply of wishes, but so far, no one's done so successfully. Togetic are stubborn and refuse to grant wishes people demand of them. It only does so out of friendship and affection, and even then, only when they're in the right mood. Suffice to say, they've got a bit of an attitude problem. Number 177, Natu. The little hopping, pecking birds Natu are nature's sanity test. Encountering 2 or 3 Natu in a day is perfectly normal, but a dozen is cause for concern. If you stumble into a public square swarming with Natu, you should probably see a shrink, especially if they're green or purple. Trying to talk to Natu leads nowhere, and trying to convince them of anything's a waste of time. Catching them is pointless too. If you see a flock, don't bother trying to scare them away. It won't help your sanity. Instead, take a vacation to Crimea. Swim, sunbathe, hike, and leave those pesky birds behind. Number 178, Xatu. Xatu are one of the rare Pokemon categorized as mysticals. At a glance, they look completely deranged. Their eyes stare in different directions, and they're dressed in the traditional attire of some ethnic group, like Celts or Evenki.
Yeesh.
Xatu can see the past and future simultaneously. Their right eye sees the future, while their left sees the past.
Oh yeah, just some ethnic group. They're all the same. Yeesh. Oh fuck.
But they can't see the present, even what's happening right in front of them. How Xatu's mind works is anyone's guess, but their appearance is otherworldly, and their speech incomprehensible. They love the band Aquarium and write lyrics to the lead singer Boris Grebenshikov. In other words, Xatu sees what he'll sing in the future and tells him in the past. If there are several Xatu in the same room, you'll feel like you're walking on the ceiling. Number 179, Mareep. Mareep are electric sheep that are far more dangerous than they appear. Try to pet one and you'll be shocked, literally. Their wool's highly electrified, which is what makes them so fluffy. In summer, they shed their wool and become thin as pencils, with legs like matchsticks. In this naked state, Mareep launch raids on power plants, searching for generators they can use to recharge. It doesn't last long though, as their wool grows back before the week's end. Electric sweaters crafted from Mareep wool have therapeutic health applications. Mareep can also be found working in candy factories, where they stir caramel with their tails, or in cafes serving as waiters. Mareep are known to be rather narrow-minded. Number 180, Flaffy. Flaffy are habitual hoarders who have absorbed so much electricity from generators they can't grow wool on their bodies anymore, so they only have fluffy collars and fancy hairdos. Flaffy lead double lives. By day, they work as interior or floral decorators, arranging bouquets and picking out dishware and matching curtains for clients. At night, they run out to shady parts of Hong Kong to indulge in debauchery. A mere dozen Flaffy can wreak havoc aboard American aircraft carriers docked at port. There's a well-known story about a Russian admiral who renounces his ranks and honors just to remain with a single Flaffy in Singapore, where these sheep are a dime a dozen. A year later, she dumped him, then he shot himself. Quite a
What? A lot of Pokemon seducing men in this Russian Pokedex.
few newspapers reported on it. Number 181, Ampharos. Ampharos is the only ancient Greek Pokemon. No one knows how, but it knew Odysseus personally, spoke with Socrates, and attended Euripides' plays. Ampharos isn't too special itself, but its acquaintance with famous Greeks allows it a comfortable life, making TV appearances and writing memoirs. Ampharos take advantage of one indisputable truth, that the longer you live, the more claims you can make. After all, who's left to fact check? It boasts numerous academic degrees, an honorary doctorate at Sorbonne, and credits as a Hollywood consultant. Amphiros' world-famous memoir opens with a bold claim, saying, "Odysseus and I first landed in Colchis about 3,000 years ago." It's worth noting, however, that ancient Greek historians suspiciously never mention Amphiros. Number 182, Blossom. More than anything, cheerful, plump Blossom love to dance. Their petal-like skirts sway on beat, while the two flowers on their heads make music without having to use CDs or cassettes. Maybe they pick up the music through radio waves, which would mean they're basically living radio towers. But asking Blossom to explain themselves is impolite. Regardless, one way or another, Blossom dance to their own music and thoroughly enjoy themselves. Male Blossoms sing protest songs, though their language and nature of their protests are unknown to humans. They're probably concerned with environmental issues or maybe globalization of the economy. It doesn't really matter though, because no one listens. Let them sing. Who cares? Number 183, Maril. The biology of these aquatic mice is rather amusing. Their tails are floats filled with oil that keep Maril from drowning. But on land, they're a nuisance, dragging behind, constantly filthy, getting caught in bicycle wheels and tripping pedestrians. Mischievous kids kick them like soccer balls, sending Maril tumbling head over heels, dragged along helplessly by its own float. Despite all that, no one's ever heard Maril complain. They bear their burden, and by that, I mean their floats, with unwavering resilience. Some people recommend plastic surgery to remove the tail, but not a single Maril's taken them up on it. Even Maril who have never set foot in waters refuse to cut it off, which is pretty respectable. Nature doesn't make mistakes, or at least that's what Maril believe, as they drag their floats around wherever they go. Number 184, Azumarill. Azumarill differ from Maril only in their height and large ears, which they use to navigate the open sea. Azumarill work as skippers in ports around the world, guiding ships through safe waterways. They swim ahead of ships, ears sticking out of the water, showing captains the safest route to docks. Unfortunately, Azumarill floats are a delicacy for sharks, which leaves a lot of elderly Azumarill tailless or sporting prosthetics, and living off disability checks from the International Skippers Association. They tell countless stories of the sea, puff on pipes, and sip rum. I guess you could say they devote themselves to carrying on English skippers' time-honored traditions. Number 185, Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo genuinely believe they're trees. They dig their feet in the ground, hold out their arms like branches, and don't move a muscle. If you ask where their leaves are, they'll just silently rattle their orbs, as if it says they're its nuts. In reality though, Sudowoodo are secretive shaman who refuse to pay taxes. They're often hired to disperse clouds, halt storms, secure victories in battle, and help people win the lottery. They forget their tree act entirely, and leap, wail, and shake their Morocco orbs. That's where their sorcery power comes from, by the way. Sudowoodo only accept cash for their services, then don't report the income on their taxes. That's led to tax authorities making lists of every Sudowoodo and closely monitoring their every move. All in all though, they're pleasant Pokemon, and if they drop all this sorcerer nonsense, they'd be even better. Number 186, Politoed. Politoed are botched evolutions of Poliwhirl. Instead of fighting, some Poliwhirl lay down their arms and declare themselves pacifists. That's when they become Politoed. They're not especially fun to talk to as they're constantly extolling their pacifist ideals. Truth is though, they're really just too chicken to fight. Such Pokemon usually slink into politics and end up in US Congress, Russian Parliament, or Swedish Riksdag. They've sent their Poliwhirl brethren into brutal wars under the guise of political necessity, but on the plus side, they do champion Pokemon rights. Side note, the reason Zatinsky says they go into politics is because their name is Politoed, in case you didn't pick up on that. Number 187, Hoppip. Hoppip are so light, even the faintest breeze can carry them off to who knows where. That's why they stick together, holding hands so they don't get blown away one by one. Hoppip like nature reserves, hiking trails, campfires, tents, kayaks, and canoes. They gently water one another, nurturing the flowers that bloom on their heads once a year. The sight of any malice always makes them weep. They could be useful, if only they weren't so light. Detractors call them shallow, but Hoppip take offense, insisting they're simply unburdened by mundane everyday worries, like most everyone else. Hoppip are kind and gentle, endlessly fascinated by anything they lay their eyes upon. They chatter away about the smallest details, holding hands and gazing into each other's eyes with deep care and connection. Number 188, Skiploom. As soon as Hoppip's flowers bloom, they turn into Skiploom, who protect their flowers as if they're the holy grail. They're very careful with them, obsessively monitoring the temperature, shielding them from breezes, and gently washing their petals with warm water. Skiplooms are absolutely obsessed with getting media attention for their flowers. If they see another Skiploops flower in a magazine, they pout and grumble about the system being rigged while they sip valerian tea. But when their own flower graces a magazine cover or a greeting card, they beam with pride, smiling ear to ear and signing autographs. Skiploom typically lives solely off other people's charity. Number 189, Jumpluff. When Skiploom's flowers wilt, they turn into Jumpluff and sprout airy seeds that fly away in the wind and eventually grow into young Hoppip. Jumpluff are very argumentative, bickering endlessly with anyone who doesn't like American movies. Jumpluff watch them on VHS every day and know the name of every actor. It's pretty silly, but that's Jumpluff for you. Their seeds are spicy and make great pizza toppings. Selling them is against the law, but some Jumpluff are willing to part with them for $10 each, though they're embarrassed if anyone finds out. Number 190, Aipom. Aipom have paws on their tails, which they use to snatch everything that isn't nailed down. Unfortunately, the natural skills led to Aipom's moral undoing, as many turned to pickpocketing. They simply can't resist the temptation of slipping a paw into a stranger's pocket. Usually they loiter outside shops, eating ice cream, smacking their lips, and humming a tune, while their tails vigorously rummage through passerbys' pockets and purses. If they get caught, Aipom run away and leave their tails behind. No one can get justice from a disembodied tail, after all. And besides, Aipom grow new ones, much like a lizard. Some Aipom give up their lives of crime and tie their tails in knots to resist the temptations of thievery. Number 191, Sunkern. Sunkern are charming nuts with leafy propellers who fly through the sky like tiny helicopters, always ready to respond to distress calls. If you're ever in serious trouble, just chant the magic word 3 times, and countless Sunkern will rain from the sky like hail, ready to help. The problem is, hardly anyone knows what the magic word is. People scream help and save me, but that's not the magic word. So their cries fall on deaf ears. And even if you do know the magic word and Sunkern do appear, they're pretty useless anyway. All they can really do is sympathize. But at least they can sympathize loudly, all together, in perfect unison. Number 192, Sunflora. Sunflora are obsessed with getting tans. They scurry around all day on their green legs, chasing every sunbeam, tilting their faces toward the light. So much so, they have to put cream on their face, then weep when their skin peels. At night, they wrap their face in their petals and doze off. Go to any beach and you'll find countless sunfloras squinting up at the sun. But they're not completely useless, because just like any other flora, they produce oxygen. And instinctively, as a habit from their youth, they offer sympathies to anyone in need. Footballers who lost their games, boxers who got knocked out, bankrupt businessmen, underachieving students, and weary police officers. But they're terrible gossips. They also love getting married and having messy divorces, always remembering that the most important thing in life, the top priority above all else, is maintaining a good tan. Number 193, Yanma. Yanma are like zippy little sport planes that buzz in the sky and spin their big eyes in circles, looking for caterpillars to munch on. In eucalyptus groves, Yanma weave grand homes that sway from branches like wasp nests, fashioned from vines, planks from nearby fences, sheet metal, furniture, and old bicycles. That's why people who live in Yanma territory don't like them. They sometimes go as far as shooting them out of the sky with their hunting rifles. Yanma make side money wowing crowds at air shows, where squadrons of them perform acrobatic stunts that are the highlight of any celebration. In Brazil, wealthy coffee merchants build landing pads and hangars for Yanma on their mansions' roofs. All around the world, it's considered good etiquette to use Yanma to deliver gifts to lovers and friends. Number 194, Wooper. Woopers spend all day listening to techno, rap, house, hip-hop, and chugging Coca-Cola. Their ears are equipped with FM antennas so they never have to go a single minute without music, but the constant racket's a nuisance to everyone around them. Their antennae also tend to poke people's legs and sometimes rip their tights, since Wooper's about knee-height to humans. Every night, flocks of Wooper gather together, tune their ear antennae to the same station, and dance like there's no tomorrow, shouting, "Wooper is super!" between songs. Their bodies are covered in slime, consisting of layers of sweat from dancing late into the night. It makes Wooper so slippery that they can squeeze through any crevice, slip past police, barricades, and picket lines. Wooper have miles of rap lyrics memorized, but are clueless about most everything else. If they hear someone mention Eminem, most Wooper swoon and sway blissfully in place, even if they're blocking an intersection. Number 195, Quagsire. Once Whooper eventually get tired of upbeat music, they turn into a Quagsire and are always happy, so long as they've got chips and tadpoles to snack on. They sell their antennae to young Whooper and forget the lyrics to all their favorite songs. They're fulfilled now, but don't feel their old lives were lived in vain. Quagsire loves swimming in warm lakes filled with algae and pod scum, bumping their heads into sunken boats. They smile blissfully, content in this simpler way of life. Most Quagsire find this paradise enough, but some are more ambitious and work as harbor pilots, which earns them decent money and respect from their superiors. Still, come the weekend, they slip away to their favorite swamps and dive into the murky warm waters, purring with delight. Number 196, Espeon. Espeon's a new evolution of that little squirrel Eevee, who before could only evolve into Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon, but now can turn into Espeon if they win the super game on Polchudes. Polchudes was a long-running Russian game show kinda like The Price is Right, where contestants could win household appliances as prizes. Okay, back to it. The transformation occurs live on air, right there in the TV studio, leaving the show's host Leonid Yakubovich scrambling trying to cut to commercial break. But Espeon's in pure ecstasy, hugging Yakubovich and kissing his assistants with its long forked tongue, then bolts out the door. If you spot a little creature with big ears and a star on its forehead, carrying a fridge and microwave running through the streets of Moscow, it must be an Espeon fresh out of the super game. After pawning their prizes, they try to find work on a variety show. Before this next one, I should refresh your memory that in the Gen 1 decks, it said Eevee are big-time gamblers with fantastic luck at slot machines. Number 197, Umbreon. It rarely happens, but when gambling-addicted Eevees lose their last cent, they turn into Umbreon. Their fur goes dark, spots emerge, and they vanish into the night, considering suicide. Or maybe just robbing a bank instead. In this state, Umbreon are as much a danger to others as they are to themselves. When the morning comes, they begin a new life, conning people at currency exchanges by trying to pass off $1 bills as hundreds. Once they manage to pull one over, they run straight back to the slots. It's advised to never exchange currency with an Umbreon. You're better off throwing your money in the garbage, setting it on fire, or losing it at a casino yourself. If you ever run into one of these spotted black goats, don't hesitate to give it a good beating. Number 198, Murkrow. Little black crows known as Murkrow fly around at night, spreading bad news and calling misfortunes into being. Their rates are affordable. For just 100 or 200 rubles, they'll call up a whole heap of bad luck for you. Murkrow in Russia like to hang out with their Russian Pokemon friend Chemodont. In America or England though, they charge higher fees and the disasters they deliver are more substantial. For some reason, people don't like Murkrow, even though they're just doing the job they're paid to do. But their real passion is polishing shoes with black boot cream. They always carry a couple brushes and tubes of polish everywhere they go, and shine people's shoes free of charge. After calling the usual misfortunes onto their clients, like illness, hunger, and death, Murkrow polish their shoes and soar into the night. Number 199, Slowking. Some particularly chill Slowpoke managed to reach Nirvana and evolve into Slowking, known as the King of Calm. In this enlightened state, they care about nothing beyond their own belly buttons. Sometimes Slowkings spend days, weeks, even months just lying on pillows, gazing into little mirrors, admiring the curves of their navels, lost in serene contemplation. Other Pokemon gather around, hoping to catch a crumb of Slowking's enlightenment. They hang on to every word they utter, trying to interpret meaning. But their words are only about a dozen, like eat, drink, and potty. When Slowking yawn, they say, hum. A word so potent it bestows listeners with a fearless tranquility. That single word fills Pokemon with such serene courage, they'll happily march into battle, fully prepared to face death without hesitation. Many fighting Pokemon do just that. Number 200, Misdreavus. Misdreavus are goofy little rascals who love scaring people, especially girls, by appearing in their bedrooms at night and screaming. Their eyes blaze, their ghostly locks thrash. The horror. Grown men collapse in fear. Young girls fall into convulsions. To fend off the ghostly menace, some people keep inflated balloons behind their beds. When Misdreavus show up, they pop the balloons with the pin before she screams. For some reason, they're afraid of loud noises, and a loud pop shocks them unconscious. Occasionally, both ghost and victim faint simultaneously. When this happens, the sleeping Misdreavus is thrown unceremoniously into a trash can. Now you know why girls always keep balloons in their rooms. Number 201, Unknown. The world's most peculiar and enigmatic creatures, unknown, embody an uninterpreted alphabet beyond scientific understanding. Each living letter possesses hidden powers capable of influencing Pokemon and people alike. They appear on walls, fences, and sheets of paper as strange words, pages of mysterious text, and sometimes entire books. Anyone who reads a book of Unknown is either driven to utter madness or gains unfathomable wisdom. Even reading a short Unknown inscription on a fence can instill gloom and despair. Glowing Unknown on rooftops cause agitation, and only when they're printed on money can they uplift spirits. Their language defies comprehension, indecipherable to all. Number 202, Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet live in caves in order to hide their black tails from sunlight, venturing out only under the cover of night to gaze upon the stars. The reason they're so protective of their tails becomes clear when you learn what's inside. A valuable black diamond that, if exposed to light, secretes a gray sludge, and that robs it of value. When their diamonds reach maturity, Wobbuffet sell them to African tribes who prize them for their chief's talismans. The exchange is carried out solely by touch in total darkness. Wobbuffet tails are typically insured for $500,000 US. It's really quite strange their diamonds are valued so highly, considering they're always shrouded in darkness, and thus, no one's actually seen one. Number 203, Girafarig. Girafarig bear a slight resemblance to the famous Russian Pokemon Tyani Tolkai, due to the little heads on their tails, capable of independent thought. Side note, Tyani Tolkai is a creature from Russian kids' books whose two heads are forever arguing and pulling in different directions. The name translates to push-pull, and it kinda looks like that beta Girafarig design from Space World 97 actually. Side note over. Much to the small head's dismay, Girafarig's big head calls the shots, meaning the small head's just along for the ride. It's always in a foul mood, nagging the big head and insisting that if it could steer, it'd lead Girafarig to paradise. But the main head just laughs it off and doesn't listen. The tail's sour temperament spells trouble for anyone who dares ride a Girafarig. The entire ride they're showered with insults and bites. As a result, Girafarig can't make much money as a riding Pokemon. People recommend cutting off their tails, but the main head shrugs, smiles, and says, "You can't choose your family," while its tail continues raining down curses. Number 204, Pineco. Pineco are big pine cones who snare flies and mosquitoes on their sticky scales, then lick them up like living fly traps. In tropical countries, people hang pineco up in kitchens and restaurants to keep pests away. They're well suited for the job, happily snacking on bugs while chatting with cooks and waiters. Pineco never shut up though, prattling on about the weather, politics, fashion, sports, scandalous ventures, and so on, as bugs fly into their mouths with no effort on Pineco's part. Some diners enjoy Pineco's banter, while others just grin and bear it. In Uruguay, one exasperated patron hurled a bottle at Pineco. In Texas, they just shoot them. Number 205, Fortress. Fortress are steel-clad mollusks who work for the Ministry of Defense. Their armored shells make them perfect punching bags for tank training. Cannons fire and shells explode, but Fortress shrug them off like nothing. Fortress have small cannons of their own as well, but instead of weapons, they shoot scented liquids more fragrant than sweet perfume. Rich, beautiful women around the world spoil them with pineapples and rose petals, and pay top dollar for Fortress to shower them from head to toe in their aromas. But sometimes they malfunction, and their liquids come out smelling like chicken manure. Fortress apologized profusely, but the damage is done. The odor sticks around and isn't easy to get rid of, leaving the stinky socialites having to soak in tubs for days, cursing Fortress with every swear word they could think of. Number 206, Dunsparce. Dunsparce burrow underground using their tails like corkscrews. They have wings but can't fly, though they claim it's because their wings are still growing. They brag in newspapers and TV about all the places they'll fly when their wings come in, and boast about someday making it into the Guinness Book of World Records. But their wings never seem to get any bigger, despite Dunsparce's promises the big day's coming soon. In the meantime, they pen books about epic aerial adventures and run expensive flight schools for birds. Dunsparce don't let their bird students fly, insisting it's better to train on the ground instead. Whenever someone accuses a Dunsparce of being a fraud, it'll spin up its tail and disappear underground, escaping accountability. And that's as far as Zatinsky got before his legal troubles. We would have liked to interview him for some behind the scenes, but sadly, he passed away in 2012, about a decade after writing these entries. We like to believe he'd be happy to see the Russian deck still remembered to this day, and enjoyed by a new audience around the world. Rest in peace, mate. If you got 90 minutes to fill and want to see an official Pokedex book,
Yeah, so that was special. That was the Gen 2 Russian Pokedex, which was never finished because he was sued for the Gen 1 Russian Pokedex. It was fascinating insight into this one man's particular perspective. Love that shit. Yeah, Chikorita got me acting unwise, showing my Argentinian bought Chinese missiles. Burret waged war against the Pakistani government. Like, what the fuck? Oh my god. Okay, well, after all that, we're gonna go into some Sonic Adventure music, I think. doing job or just learning? It's just an experiment, I guess. I'm trying to make a secure chat application so that if anyone wanted to, they could compile it and host it themselves on their own machine and connect with other people that they trust and exchange messages. That is the goal. But I'm not very good at C, so I'm a little bit slow. I'm new to coding. I want to ask you how to start as I know basics of C, C++, what to do. Average question asked by new ones. Yeah, I don't really know. Everyone's journey is different. Personally, I went to college and studied computer science, and so I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. But we only looked a little bit at C, we looked a little bit at Java, we looked a little bit at assembly, like we just kind of looked at a lot of different things. I would suggest trying to just make a program that you want to use, that you want to exist in the world. But like, and if you're asking me how you make a living, how you get a job, I really can't tell you. I'm not happy with the path that my career took. I'm not happy with the work that I've done, and I'll probably die unfulfilled, so I might not be the best person to take advice from. Can you tell me what not to do? Not really. Like, there's too much potential. There's too many possibilities. you're gonna have to play around with it for yourself and see what happens. If you want to avoid making the specific mistakes that I made, don't work for a big corporation, because big corporations, if they are for profit, they are anti-human. They will chew you up, spit you out, they won't care. Their work is hurting people, they don't care, they just want profits. Like, it's terrible. So try to hang on to your humanity, try to remember what you're doing and why. And it's hard to be a good person in a bad world. It's easy to get taken advantage of. Do you enjoy coding? Sometimes. I enjoy it in theory. I enjoy it when it works. I enjoy it when it's not being too frustrating. But a lot of the times it just doesn't make sense to me, and it's kind of not fun. But generally I enjoy it. I enjoy what it can do. It's surprising sometimes how easy it is to do certain things, because a lot of tools have been made completely free over the years and have had time to be refined and worked on and polished, and like, there's a lot of stuff you could do today that's super easy compared to what it was however many years ago. So size T is a count of bytes. It's worth it to learn? Yeah, I think so. I think it's worth it to learn at least some kind of programming. Just because the logical thinking can be a really useful skill. And like, what I love about programming, especially in something simple, is that the computer is just gonna do what you tell it to do. And so it's up to you to tell it to do the right thing. And like, that's easier said than done. But it's an interesting process of trying to translate your thoughts into something like tangible, like code. A series of steps and processes that will result in the behavior that you want. 0 connections. Okay, great. I do think it's worth it to learn, but I can't promise anything, you know. I don't wanna be responsible for your choices. I don't know why the man pages are being so slow right now. They make such a big deal about this. Like, oh, those pointers might refer to the same memory location, so the compiler may generate less optimal code. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. Wow, that's less optimal than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we could save one line if we really think about what we're doing and apply the dangerous restrict keyword. Cool.
hog, spit like a menace. Wild canyon, fun, I gotta chase a bat, huh? Yeah, rude, she's sexy and smooth. A double cross by thief, that's out for my Jews, I'm feeling her in mysterious ways. That's why I stay on point like every single day. I gotta protect this place, I do it for my race, Yeah, you know how it is. Your hands up. Ain't nobody gonna come here and eat my plate, no. Yo, what happened? My emerald's gone. Somebody gon' get this quick, my word is born. Who coulda did this? That snitch named Rouge. When I catch her, I'ma get her with these tools. There you are. Come here, little thief. Think you gon' fly and get away quick? Give up the emerald or die. I don't love you. Yeah, you know how it is.
I don't think I ever listened to the lyrics to this before. It is what it is, I guess. Weird.
Your hands up. Echidna, that's what I'm representing. Never seen a Mike Hog spit like a menace. Wild canyon, fun, I gotta chase a bat, huh? Yeah, rude, she's sexy and smooth. A double cross by thief, that's out for my Jews, I'm feeling her in mysterious ways. That's why I stay on point like every single day. I gotta protect this place, I do it for my race, Yeah, you know how it is. Your hands up. Ain't nobody gonna come here and eat my plate, no. Yo, what happened? My emerald's gone. Somebody gon' get this quick, my word is born. Who coulda did this? That snitch named Rouge. When I catch her, I'ma get her with these tools. There you are. Come here, little thief. Think you gon' fly and get away quick? Give up the emerald or die. I don't love you. Yeah, you know how it is.
It's just very funny to me. Give up the emerald or die. I don't love you. Wow, fuck. Alright, Knuckles. A little too edgy for me, maybe. But I might be done here for today. Certified Hood Classic. Pumpkin Hill. Alright. Pumpkin Hill is pretty fucking dope. Not gonna lie. Oh, we were almost there too, you know? If I let it keep playing, we could get some Pumpkin Hill. Let's make it to Pumpkin Hill. Do you like Pumpkin Hill? I like Pumpkin. Up on Pumpkin Hill, there's a manatee. No, that's a different hill.
You know me, the fighting freak Knuckles, and we're at Pumpkin Hill. You ready? I ain't gon' let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep. Down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. Our ghosts try to approach me and got leery. Ask him a question and he vanished in a second. I'm walking through valleys, crying pumpkin in the alley. Didn't seem happy, but they sure tried to get me. Had to back them up with a fist metal crackle. I'm hearing someone saying, you a chicken, don't be scared. It had to be the wind, cause nobody wasn't there. I searched and I searched as I climbed up the wall. And then I started to fly, I went in deeper. Let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep. Down Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I gotta hold my head, I have no fear. It probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. A ghost try to approach me, he got leery.
Early 2000s were a strange
Let
time.
it get to me, I'm just gonna creep down in Pumpkin Hill. I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's. I
do like the song. It's just that the lyrics are like, I don't know how to put it. A little cringe. Well, like sincere cringe, very enjoyable cringe. Gotta love the record scratch sound.
Didn't seem happy, but they sure tried to get me. Had to back 'em up with a fist metal crackle. I'm hearing someone saying you a chicken, don't be scared. It had to be the wind, cause nobody wasn't there. I searched and I searched as I climbed up the wall. And then I started to fly, I went in deeper. Let it get to me, I'm just gonna creep down Pumpkin Hill. I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I gotta hold my head, I have no fear.
Alright, well, thanks for watching.
A graveyard theory. A ghost try to approach me, he got leery.